Man-in-the-middle attacks. In the next few videos, we're going to talk about what's known as man-in-the-middle attacks. This is one of the most dangerous and effective attacks that you can carry out in a network. You can only do it once you connect to the network. It can be used to redirect the flow of packets from any client to our device. This means that any packet that is sent to or from the client, the target client, will have to go through our device. And since we know the password, since we know the key to the network, we will be able to read those packets, so they won't be encrypted, and we will be able to modify them, drop them, or just read them if they contain passwords or important information. This attack is so effective because it's very hard to protect against. We're going to talk about the ways to protect against it, but it's very hard to fully protect yourself against this attack. This is due to the way ARP protocol works. It was programmed in a way that it's very simple and it's very effective, but it's not secure enough. ARP has two main security issues. The first one is that each ARP request or response is trusted. So whatever my device says to other devices that are in my network will be trusted. So I can just tell any device that's with me on my network that I am the router, and the device will trust me. It will not try to make sure that I am actually the router. It will not make any tests to ensure my identity. If I tell any device that I am the router, the device will believe me. Same way if I talk to the router, and if I tell the router that I am someone else on the network, the router will trust me and will start treating me as that device. So that's the first security issue. The second security issue is that clients can accept responses even if they didn't send a request. So for example, when a device connects to the network, the first thing it's going to ask, who is the router? And then the router will send a response saying, I am the router. Now we can just send a response without the device asking for who is the router. We can just tell the device, I am the router. And because the devices trust anyone, they will trust me and they will start sending me packets instead of sending the packets to the router. So let's have a deeper look on how this man-in-the-middle attack works. It's going to work using a technique called ARP poisoning or ARP spoofing. This is done by exploiting the two security issues that we talked about in the previous slide. That's a typical Wi-Fi network, and we can see that when the client requests something, it will send the request to the Wi-Fi, to the router, and then the router will get the request from the internet and come back with the responses to the client. Now all this is done using packets. So what we are going to do is we're going to send an ARP response to the client, so we can send responses without the client asking them. So the client didn't ask for anything, but we can still send it a response. We're gonna say that my IP is the router IP. So the router, for example, has 192.168.1.1. So we're gonna tell the client the device with this IP has my MAC address. So we're gonna tell the client that I am the router, basically. This will cause the client to, instead of sending the packets to the router, it will start sending the packets to us because we told him the device with the router IP is me, has my MAC address. After that, we're going to do the opposite to the router. So we're going to tell the router that I am the client. We'll do this by telling the router that my IP is the client's IP and that client has my MAC address. So the communication of packets will be done through the MAC address, and the Wi-Fi router will start sending any packet that's meant to go to the client will be sent to us instead. This will redirect the flow of packets through our device. So when the client wants to send a request, it will send the request to us. So for example, when it wants to open google.com, it will send that request to our device instead of sending it to the router. Now our device will go to the router, it'll get google.com. The router will send the response to our device instead of the client, and then we will send the packet back. So this means that each packet that is sent to the client or from the client will have to go through us. Since it's going through us and we have the key, we can read these packets, we can modify them or just drop them. So that's the basic principle of man in the middle and ARP poisoning. Basically, we're gonna tell the client that we are the router, and then we're gonna tell the router that we are the client. This will put us in the middle between the packet flow between the client and the router, and all the packets will start flowing through our device. Then we can read the packets, modify them, or drop them.